everyone, and welcome to Business Boutique. I'm Christy Wright, and today we are talking about being a woman that champions other women. Now, if you have listened to me for any amount of time, you know this is a big deal to me. I'll tell you, I am the product of so many women that have invested in me and poured into me and loved me and supported me and opened doors for me, and I certainly want to be the type of woman that does those things for other women. I'll tell you about an example that happened several years ago that really stuck out to me. So this was in 2015, pre-Business Boutique, okay? Our very first Business Boutique event was in the fall of 2015, and leading up to that event, we were planning out all of the stage sessions, all the speakers, and all that good stuff. Well, one of our speakers was going to be Cordia Harrington. She's a local here in Nashville, and we wanted to tell her story of how she built her massively successful business from the ground up. And amazingly, Cordia faced so many rejections along the way. And we wanted to tell that story. Like, how did you do it? How did you push past the fear and do it scared and all of that good stuff? Now, keep in mind, in 2015, I've never written a book. Business Boutique didn't exist at all. There was no podcast, no academy, no courses, no event, nothing at this point. And so we booked Cordia to speak at our event. Well, there was one particular day leading up to the event that I went to her offices just to get to know her. We were going to talk about the stage session and kind of go over the interview questions and just kind of get on the same page leading up to the event. And y'all, when I walked up to the front of the building, I was speechless. There was this sign and all these balloons saying, "Welcome, Christy Wright." Christy Wright, a nobody. I had not done anything impressive, certainly nothing impressive compared to what Cordia had accomplished in her life. Let me just tell you a little bit about Cordia's accomplishments. Number one, she's the founder and owner of the bakery companies, which includes 4 plants and 12 product lines serving all these elite customers in the US, the Caribbean, and South America. She's routinely one of Nashville's fastest growing companies with nearly $100 million in revenue in 2016. Well, she's the owner and founder of the bakery companies, which serves elite customers in the US, the Caribbean, and South America. Those customers, by the way, are some different companies you've heard of, such as McDonald's, Five Guys, Sara Lee, Whole Foods, and Jason's Deli. She is constantly named one of the fastest growing companies in the United States year after year. She also has received the Entrepreneur of the Year award and in 2016 was named the most admired CEO of a Lifetime Achievement Award. This woman that has done all of that and more that I didn't even mention, put out a sign and balloons. Welcome, Christy Wright. This is such an amazing example of a woman that champions other women. Not only did she make time for me, this person that had not achieved anything in her life, Christy Wright, not only did she make time to meet with me at her office and give me a tour, I got to wear a little hat thing and tour all the different bun assembly lines. Not only did she make time for me, but she welcomed me. She honored me. She made it seem like I was the important one in that scenario. What a beautiful example. What a beautiful picture of a woman that is championing other women. Now, I'll tell you guys, I don't know where I would be in my life without the support of other women. This has been not only something that I've experienced, but it's something that I've become extremely passionate about. And I think I'm so passionate about it because I've realized it's also really hard. There is such power in women championing other women. And when we see it, we love it. Think about Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. We love them. We love how they love each other. We want to be them, right? Like we see that and we're like, this is a great example of what it looks like to be a woman that is championing other women. And when we see that, we want it. However, then we have a hard time actually doing it. Then in our day-to-day life, our day-to-day interactions, our day-to-day attitudes, our day-to-day perspective that we take, we have a hard time being that, behaving like that, thinking like that, actually actively championing other women. For example, another woman in our office gets promoted, and instead of being excited for her, we're jealous. Or your neighbor parents her child a little different than you. And instead of just allowing her to live her life and raise her child as she sees fit, instead we roll our eyes and spit out our advice, don't we? Maybe your sister, as an example. Instead of putting her child in daycare like you did, she hires a nanny, and you immediately think, well, that must be nice. Must be nice to be you. Instead of supporting her and encouraging her and being excited for her and whatever decision she's making in her own life, we turn up our nose. We see it again and again. Your friend stays home while you work all day, or your friend goes to work all day while you stay home. And regardless of where the situation plays out, we feel uneasy at this difference and this divide between us and how others live their life. And no matter where we stand, we're looking down on someone else. We're taking the posture of arrogance and superiority and all around division between us and the women in our lives. But here's the reality. And I have seen this and I have experienced this firsthand. I am guilty of it as well. I really believe the reason that we are so quick to judge women with decisions different from our own is simply because we're not completely comfortable in our own choices. That's what it comes down to. It's not because we think she's so wrong. It's because we're worried maybe we're wrong. Maybe my child shouldn't be in daycare. Maybe I shouldn't stay home. Maybe I shouldn't go to work. Maybe I shouldn't spend my money this way, live my life this way, use my gift this way. We're constantly insecure in our own choices, and we project that on other women by judging them instead. But if you want to be a woman that champions other women, and I do, I'm in this with you. If you want to be a woman that champions other women, you have to do what those women do. You have to connect your desire to be that kind of woman with your behavior, with your attitude. It's kind of like, this is a silly example, but it's kind of like that person in your life that is a liar. You know, they lie all the time, but then they'll say in the same breath, now I'm not a liar, but you are because you lie. So by definition, you're a liar, right? So often we remove ourselves from our behaviors and we think, oh, that's not me. I'm not like that. You know, we listen to a podcast and we think, I know of someone that needs to hear that. It never occurs to us that the person that needs to hear it is us. We read a blog that's some tough love and we send it to the 5 people we think really need that tough love. Certainly not us, right? Couldn't be me. There's someone I need to help, and I'm gonna send that blog or that podcast or that book or that article to them. But you know what? The reality is this. If we want to be a woman that champions other women, we need to start with the woman in the mirror. We need to start with us. And so today's lesson is not for your friend. It's not for your mother-in-law. It's not for your sister. It's for you. It's for me. We're going to start with us. We're going to start being the type of woman that champions other women. So I want to give you 5 ways to do that. These are 5 intentional behaviors that you can choose. They are not feelings that you feel. They are not situations that you're in that, oh, this situation calls for it and deserves this type of response. No, this is who you are going to choose to be. And as you choose to behave this way, you become this type of person. Number 1, and you've heard me talk about this before, love yourself. Love yourself first. The reason we are so hard on others is because we are so hard on ourselves. The reason we have no grace for others is because we have no grace for ourselves. The reason we're judging others is because we are judging ourselves. You can't offer something you don't have. You can't lead someone where you are not. You cannot pour out something that's not already in you. And if there is no love in you for yourself, I promise you, you have no love for other people. I've talked about this before, but the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. The implication there is that you're loving yourself, so you have something to compare that to. Some of you, sometimes me, we're really hard on our neighbors because we're really, really hard on ourselves. Now, I'm sure you've experienced this in your own life. I'll give you an example. I have some friends that when I am around them, I feel anxious. I feel nervous simply because they're so anxious and they're so nervous. You know, you hang out with them like, oh yeah, I didn't get the trash taken out. I've got to get laundry going and I've got to get dishes and oh my gosh, I didn't work out. How many calories is in that muffin? I don't know if I can eat that many calories. Can you cut the muffin in half? And I'm probably gonna have to work out after this. And they're just frantic. And then you, which you thought you were fine walking into that room or that coffee shop or that house that you were hanging out with them, you were fine coming in and you feel your nerves and your anxiety rising. You're going, I need to work out. I need to do laundry. I need to count calories. I need to cut my muffin in half. No, it's contagious. When you're around that type of person, it's contagious. But the opposite is also true. I have this friend, Eve, and one of my favorite things about Eve is that she is so comfortable in her own skin. Every time you're around her, she is relaxed. Every time you're around her, she invites you to relax in your own skin too. So both are contagious. Anxiety and being worked up and being high-strung, and being relaxed and loving yourself and being comfortable in your own skin. Both of these things are contagious. What a gift it would be to offer that to the people around you. Because you're so comfortable in your own skin, you love yourself so much that just by being around you, people are invited to love themselves as well. What a gift. What a gift for you, and what a gift for others. So if you want to be a woman that champions other women, you first have to love yourself. You cannot offer something you don't have. So if you want to offer love, if you want to champion others, you need to have that love to give. And I promise you, it starts with you. Now, the second behavior that you can choose to champion other women, and this is slightly different, is I want you to be confident in your own choices. This is a little bit different than loving yourself. This is where you're going to find confidence in the daily decisions that you make, in the choices that you make, whether that's about how you spend your money, how you invest in your marriage, how you parent your kids, how you live your life, how you run your business, how you pursue your career or use your gifts, how you spend your time. Those choices are yours because it's your life, no one else's. I don't care how your mother-in-law does it, how your mom does it, how your grandma does it, how your sister does it, how your neighbor does it, how your friend does it, how your coworker does it. Doesn't matter. That's their life. That is good for them. But you have got to find confidence in the choices that are right for you. That's part of being a grown-up. So what are you doing with your life? How are you spending your time and your money? If you're not confident in it, then you need to seek wisdom and counsel, get on the same page with your spouse, have some advice from someone that is smarter or further along than you. Certainly you can grow in these areas. But once you've made a decision, sister, stop waffling. Stop waving back and forth and wondering, well, she does it different and he does it different and they say this and they say that. No. What is right for you? Finding confidence in the choices that are right for you is a great step to you being able to champion other women in their choices. Because you can't champion someone in their choices if you aren't sure about your choices. You're constantly wondering, you're constantly feeling insecure. Find confidence in the choices that are right for you. You know, I had a friend that whenever she had her first baby, it was right around the time that I had Carter, so my first baby as well. And I remember we were on maternity leave at similar times, and we were talking. They were probably, I don't know, maybe 5 months old or something at the time. We were talking about what it's like to just manage your life as a new mom and trying to figure out how do you make time for yourself and what do you do with all these hormones and all your feelings and mom guilt and all that stuff. And I remember her saying to me, yeah, I come home in the morning from a workout because I'll choose it on these certain days. I'm going to go work out, but I want to get my workout in and I want to get home before she wakes up. And there's been a couple days that I come home and she's already awake. And I feel so guilty. Don't you feel that? Do you feel so guilty when you come home and they're already awake and you missed 10 minutes with them? And I thought, no, I'm good. I mean, I'd stay at the workout a little longer, honestly, to just have a break from the crying and the bottles. You know what? It'd be so easy in that moment for me to feel like I should feel guilty. Oh my gosh, I don't love my child as much as she does. I don't miss that 10 minutes that they were awake. No, I'm confident in the choices that are right for me. I'm confident in how I spend my time. I'm confident in how I raise my kids. I'm confident in how I manage my money. I'm confident in the choices that I make. And what's so beautiful about that is when you learn to gain confidence in the choices that are right for you on your personal journey that is unlike anyone else's, when you find that confidence, oh, friends, it is such a gift because you can offer that freedom to other people as well. You can champion them in their choices, even when those choices are totally different than yours. Even when those choices feel opposite than yours, you can love them right where they are. You can sit next to a woman with decisions completely different than your own and love her and champion her. But it all starts with being confident in the choices that are right for you. So the first behavior to championing other women is to love yourself. The second is to find confidence in your own choices. The third is to give grace. We all need it. We're gonna mess up. You're gonna mess up. I'm gonna mess up. She's gonna mess up. We're all gonna mess up. So choosing to give grace when we mess up is an unbelievable gift. It allows you to champion other women in all her imperfections, which means when she makes choices that are wrong, not just different than yours, when she makes choices that are just flat out wrong, you're gonna give grace. You're going to give forgiveness. You're going to extend to her what you would want extended to you in that same type of moment. You're gonna give grace. And this goes back to exactly what we said with number one of loving yourself. If you can't give grace to other people, it's probably because you don't know how to give grace to yourself. So start with you. Allow yourself grace. Allow yourself forgiveness. Allow yourself to receive that. And in receiving that, then you feel the freedom to give and offer that to other people as well. So when you mess up, give yourself grace. When you make a mistake, give yourself grace. Don't live in that shame. Don't allow that cycle of negative thoughts, of the broken record of beating yourself up go on in your mind. Instead, simply give yourself grace. And when you do that, you will find it so much easier to offer grace to other people. And here's an extra step you could take if you're a go-getter and you just want to go above and beyond. Here's something I have found that can be particularly helpful in building relationships. Offer grace before they even need it. Offer grace before they've even asked for it. Offer grace even when they're not sure or not aware that they might need it. I'll give you an example of this from a few years ago. My friend and I had planned a couple weeks before to have lunch. And so this was the day we were gonna meet up, we were gonna have lunch. And I got a text from her that morning. And she said, I'm so sorry, this morning has been crazy. I might be running a little late. I'm not sure. The kids have been crying. I'm trying to get them out the door. I've got to get to daycare, all the things. And you can just hear the nervousness and stress in her text. And instead of saying, okay, well, I've planned on this. Well, I've worked my calendar around it. Well, I'm very busy, by the way, and I don't want to cancel last minute. Instead of all those things that would be our natural inclination to defend ourselves or posture or be right or whatever, I said, hey, why don't we reschedule? I've had those mornings. Man, those are stressful. Why don't you just get an hour and a half back of your time, rest, whatever you need to do to get caught up? I gave her grace before she asked. I gave her grace before she canceled. I let her know that we were fine regardless of what happened. I gave her an out. You know why that's so great? Because, man, I need people to do that for me sometimes. I need grace oftentimes in advance. So give grace to yourself and to others. Now let's talk about the fourth behavior that you can choose to champion other women. The fourth one is to have empathy. Now, this is slightly different than giving grace, but I will tell you it makes giving grace a lot easier when you have empathy. Empathy is simply putting yourself in someone else's shoes. It's giving them the benefit of the doubt. It's imagining what would it be like to be them. If I were them in this scenario, how would I handle it? Or what would I need? Or how would I feel? Or what would I think? See, all day, every day, all we ever think about is how we feel. We always look at the world through our lens, through our situation, through our personality style, through our filter. And so we don't understand, why does she do it that way? Why does she look like that? Why does she make a decision like that? Why did she wear that? Why? Because we're thinking about ourselves. Instead, have empathy. Put yourself in someone else's shoes. Imagine what it's like to walk the road they've walked. I'll give you an example. Growing up as an only child, being raised by a single mom, I was really hard on her. I didn't have any of the things that I thought my friends had that made a normal home. I was having to do so many things myself, from sewing my clothes if they had holes in them, or ironing them if they were wrinkled, or going to the grocery store if I actually wanted groceries for my lunch. Poor me, poor me. I was so mistreated as an only child of a single mom that was running a business. I had a long list of complaints. I was always very disappointed with how she parented and how she led our lives. And now, as a mom, I look back and I have no idea how she did it. She must have been so tired. She must have been so overwhelmed. She must have felt so alone. Now as an adult myself, now as a mom myself, I look back and I have such empathy, such grace, such appreciation for my mom and all that she did. Granted, I have a little bit more life and maturity and perspective in me now than I did as a 12-year-old. But let's do that for each other. Put yourself in someone else's shoes. Give them the benefit of the doubt. And what's amazing is when you do that, it's so easy to champion them. When you put yourself in their shoes, you can see how they see and feel how they feel, and you want to love them and value them and lift them and support them because you're seeing the world through their perspective. And it's not easy, but y'all, it is so important. Have empathy. If you want to champion other women, have empathy for those women, and you will find that championing them is way easier. All right, let's talk about the last one, the fifth behavior that you can choose to champion other women. Give what you want to get. See, we spend all day, every day thinking about what we want to get. I wish my mom would leave me alone and not boss me around all the time. I wish my husband would give me more compliments. I wish my kids would listen for once in their life. I wish all these people. I wish my boss would appreciate me. I wish my team would work harder for me. I wish I could get all these things. And those things are real and they're valid. But because we spend so much of our time focusing on what we want to get, we miss the one behavior that we could choose that would actually lead to us getting those things. It's amazing how contagious some of these behaviors are. If you want people to champion you, champion them. If you want people to love you, love them. If you want people to be kind to you, be kind to them. Give the things that you want to get. And what's amazing is when you do, when you give those things you want to get, you will get what you want and more. I promise you. And when you do all of this, when you demonstrate these 5 behaviors that we're talking about, it's amazing because you will move from being a woman that just wants to champion other women to actually becoming one. So the 5th behavior is to give what you want to get. When you do that, you will get all of those things and more. All right, let's do a quick recap of the 5 behaviors that you can choose to champion other women. Number 1, love yourself first. When you love yourself, it's a lot easier to love others. Number 2, be confident in your own choices. When you're confident in your own choices, you can champion women with different choices as well. Number 3, give grace to yourself and to others. Number 4, have empathy. Put yourself in someone else's shoes and you will find it's much easier to champion and value them. And number 5, give what you want to get. When you give what you want to get, you will get all of that and more. And when you demonstrate these 5 behaviors, what's so amazing is you move from being a woman that just wants to champion other women, in theory, to actually becoming one. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And now you can check out this next video.